Hi. So hi, this is based on request from some of my users. I belong to the Agimat groups, and I recently started a YouTube channel. So in my YouTube channel, I'm going to be trying to dissect the Agimat system created, of course, by Dennis Buchholz. So I'm going to start from a beginner series. So for those that are very new to Agimat, it's your first time purchasing the product. It's going to be pretty elementary. I'm going to touch on the basic stuff and some of the important elements of the system that you need to look out for, and a simple entry system, which of course a lot of people know, the UL method, and maybe a little bit of refinement to it. But anyway, I don't want this to be a long video because there's going to be a lot more I'll be touching on, so I'll go straight to the point. In other videos, definitely I'll touch on those other aspects. So as with everything, if you find this of valuable interest at the end of the video, you could always, click the like button and subscribe. So let me move on. So now we have, if you have purchased the Agimat, I'm not going to talk about installing. Installing is pretty simple. Just like any other product, you just click on the executable file and it will install. But once you install and you have it on your MT4, this is what you should see. This is the plain Agimat template. So one of the key important elements of the template that I will be showing you, especially for newbies, is first and foremost, the yellow box with the black arrow. Now, the yellow box with the black arrow that you see here, it's a point of reversal in the market. If you understand price action very well, you understand that whenever the market makes a move up, there's usually a correction, then it makes another move up. It's usually called impulse, correction, impulse. So when you have a consecutive impulse, correction, impulse, impulse, correction, impulse, you have an uptrend going on. So the yellow box with the black arrow on the Agimat system represents a point where the system believes price has come to the end of that trend and it's going to likely reverse. That is what the yellow box with the black arrow connotates. Now you have the white arrow. The white arrow is more like a breakout alert. When price comes to the end of a trend and reverses, sometimes a lot of traders wait for the breakout candle before they are satisfied that yes, the bulls are tired and the bears or the sellers are taking over in the market. So that white arrow that comes up on the Agimat system tries to tell you that there's a breakout candle and it believes that right now is the best time to sell in this market. That is what the white arrow tells you. Now we move on to the other component, which is this line. It's a really great line. It's called the angular momentum line. The angular momentum line, for me, is basically what I call the trade management line. Again, sometimes when we get into entries, it's used for entries, but right now, I'm telling you that it's more like a trade management line. The trade management in the sense that when you see price action are these candles, the red or the blue candles. When you see price action under the angular momentum line, it gives you a sense of security to stay in that trade as long as you can, to take the maximum profits out of that trade. The minute you see price action breaks out of this angular momentum line, it's kind of an indication that, look, I think this move on the downside in this particular example is done, and there's a mini move coming up. So if a full candle closes above the angular momentum line, it's time for you, if you were in this trade, to take profits. But if you started this trade here, you probably want to stay in this trade as long as these candles are all below the angular momentum line. They haven't crossed substantially above it, or they haven't closed above it. So you can stay in this trade. You only get out of this trade when price, moves out of the angular momentum line and starts closing above it to make a move up. So I call it the trade management line. Again, it's not what it's called the angular momentum. That is from the creator, Dennis Buchholz, on the sales page. and it's connected to his neural network, as he explains very well on that page. But like I said, it's part of the components of the Agimat system, and in this my own series, it's how I use it that I'm trying to explain. So don't get it confusing. The way I say it is that it helps you to manage the trades that you are in, and as long as your trade position stays under the line, if you're in a short, you stay there. If your trade position is above the angular momentum line and you're in a long position, then you stay there. You hold it as long as possible, get the maximum profits until you feel you're done or you have a target and you quit the trade. That's the second element. Now the third element I'm touching on is the yellow box without the black arrow. The yellow box without the black arrow, I mentioned earlier about if you know of a price action and you know the impulse correction. When I say impulse, like let me move here. There's an impulse correction, the impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse move. If you understand that, price action movement, you understand that at the point where this yellow box comes up, it's trying to tell you that this trend is not done yet, that this is most likely the beginning of a correction before the next impulse. That is what the yellow box signifies, the yellow box without the black arrow. So the yellow box without the black arrow tells you that there's an impulse, and this is the start of the correction. It signifies the start of a correction on an impulsive move on a new trend. That is what the yellow box connotates. Again, remember, this is a system. You're not going to make money off trading just boxes and arrows. The system is designed to show you spots in the market where you can trade. You still need to use your intuition to know whether it's the right time to trade or not. But pretty much it's an effective system. If you use it simply as it has been designed for, you will get the required results. Trust me, you will. And as you can see, anytime the yellow box with the black arrow comes out, it's usually followed by the white arrow. Like I mentioned earlier, the white arrow is like a breakout indication. It tells you that, okay, it's time to really get into this market because it's now sure that it has a breakout momentum to push this market in the direction you're looking. And the direction we're looking at right now is to go long. So you can always wait for the white arrow before you take your decision. Anyway, we'll get to that when it comes to trade entries. Now, the next component I want to look at in the Agimat system are the lines. You see these black lines here? These black lines, these really thick lines. These lines are usually, well, in my perspective, from what I have tested, you can refer to these lines as bank levels or round numbers or support and resistance levels. I mentioned bank levels, round numbers, support and resistance levels. Now, if you take this, like a real horizontal line, and you plot it here, take this, plot it here. It's not going to be really accurate, but I'm just doing my best. This, and you plot it here. Now, sorry, let me change the properties to something brighter. Yeah, so there you go. Make this bright, this. So you can see like this number, can you see this? It's a 1300.01. I believe it should be a 1300.00. Well, bank numbers, as they say, are round numbers. Anytime you see a number on your chart or a price on your chart that ends with triple zeros, like 0000, it's a round number. And these are points on, on your charts where it is believed that the banks and financial institutions in the trading markets usually place their orders to either buy in the market or sell in the market. That is the perceived notion. And about 70% to 80% of the time, it is true. We're not getting into that. I'm discussing the elements of Agimat, but you can do your research on that. 70 to 80% of the time, this is where the market makes swings because this is the perceived notion that the bigger institutions have put their monies there for them to make the market either go up or down, or where they decide to buy or sell in the market. So the Agimat system already has these lines plotted on the charts for you. So you can decide to even make your trading decisions only when you are at this perceived levels, which can be support and resistance levels, like I said, bank levels or round numbers. Whichever one you decide to call them, it's fine. But they are very important. When I say very, very important levels for you to always watch out when you are using the Agimat system. More on that as the series continues. But anyway, let's move on to the last element, which you see here. It's called the Agimat MEQ. It's a future prediction tool. Well, the future prediction tool, what it actually does here is that it kind of predicts for you what the price action will be in about the next 6 to 8 candles, without the market moving just yet. It kind of looks into the future and tells you that, okay, based on past history, I think the market is going to move this way. I think it's going to move that way. That is what it actually does. And it also has this black line there, which is the market baseline. So the market baseline, if you're a fan of TDI, you know that the market baseline is like the overall sentiment of the market. So when you see the market baseline sloping down, it means the overall sentiment of the market is bearish. And when you see the market sloping up, the overall sentiment of the market is bullish. Now, if you want to be, you want to have a visual representation of where you are in the market, you could add, something extra to the MEQ, which is draw a vertical line, sorry, a horizontal line to initiate, tell you when you are at the mid-range or you are below or above mid-range of the market sentiment. Anyway, we'll get into that in other series, but I want you to just know that the MEQ just talks about the market sentiment and kind of predicts what the market is going to, the shape of the market in the next few candles or so. We'll get into that. But I want you to understand that when you're using the Agimat, these are the main components of the Agimat, and the really, really important ones that you need to take or pay attention to is this, the MEQ, these declines, these levels, and of course, like it or not, the white arrow. Those are the ones I particularly pay attention to, not as much as the yellow box with the black arrow or the yellow box, because as often said, when price moves, these boxes could really extend further. But you see the white arrows, boom. Once price makes a breakout, the white arrows come out, they just stay there. You could try it out yourself to just stay there. So I think they're a better indication of, on making a trading decision rather than using these boxes. But these boxes are just there to alert you, to let you know that maybe you should start looking at this pair and get ready, to trade this pair. But like I said, the very, very important element of the Agimat that I think you should pay attention to, and I pay attention to, is the future prediction tool, which is the MEQ. This declines, these levels, declines, these thick black lines there, and the white arrow, as well, of course, the trade management tool, which is the MEQ, which is the angular momentum line. Not as much to pay attention to, in my opinion. I use it more like trade management. But when I want to make trading decisions, I usually pay attention to the ones I mentioned earlier, the white arrow, the thick lines, and the future prediction tool. So that is it for a brief overview of the Agimat elements. I haven't talked about trade entries and all that for now, but I'll leave that in another video. And I believe with this little introduction on the basic elements and the ones that I find very important for you to pay attention to, I believe you should be able to understand better what this system is trying to accomplish. And when we get into trade entries and strategies, you would get a better feel of how powerful the system is. So thank you very much for this short video. I hope you find success in your trading. And like I always say, if you like this video, you can hit the like button and subscribe. Y'all have a nice day and happy peeping. Bye for now.